Farming is an evolving science. Few things are black and white, except of course the colour of the cows that we've been milking for the past half century now. But here on this Meath farm, the Sheehans are going back to an older way of thinking, where the brown cow had its place in the parlour.
Well, the colour of the cows changed completely when the British region came in. It was black and white. And they're there with roughly, it's, I'm milking British regions with over 40 years. She doubled the quantity of milk. And she was, I was very happy with her. She had good feed. It was very easy to get her back in calf. But the Holstein came in. And you really want to send them in a pilgrimage, some of them to get back in calf. They were lame. Every misfortune happened to us. We had more cows out in paddocks during the winter than inside.
For some farmers, buying cattle is just like buying a new suit. They want something practical that looks well on them. Over the past half century, undoubtedly Friesians and Holsteins have been the fashionable choice of dairy farmers. But Michael wonders just how practical they are on their own farm.
I just go around to a lot of shows and I see these Holstein Friesians, the models, and they were that well groomed. Well, they hadn't lipstick on, but they were that very well groomed. I could say for a commercial herd, I couldn't see them inside my cubicle shed. I'd see them inside in a straw bed, 8 or 10 feet of straw. Well, they remind me now of one only a supermodel. She's nice in the catwalk, but if she went out to the bog for a week and give her a flask of tea and a few sandwiches, I'd say her fingernails would be very short Saturday evening.
The Montbéliard cow is a totally different cow to the Holstein Friesian cow. Their temperament is totally different. They produce milk of a very high quality, butter fat to protein ratio. In their homeland in France, their milk is mainly used for making Emmental cheese.
Why aren't we all milking Montbéliard cows then?
That's a good question. The Montbéliard cow is probably more expensive than a Friesian cow at the moment, which is probably putting a lot of people off with the depression in agriculture at the moment. Also, it is difficult to source good quality cows in France at the moment because there is such a demand for them. And also maybe with a lot of dairy farmers, there is a certain myth that unless they're black and white, you won't get enough milk out of them.
When the Sheehans went to replace their cows, the Montbéliards were just what they were looking for. With an average yield of 1,200 gallons, they may not be as generous milkers as their black and white cousins, but they do produce a better beef calf, effectively performing a dual milk beef purpose.
Compared to some of the Friesians we had, there were quite a handful as heifers. The Montbéliard, they're a very settled animal, particularly during the summer. Like, I mean, it was the time of the year that we bought them. They were an example to look at, like what a cow should do. They'd come in out of the paddock, they'd milk, and gone again. And a good, healthy animal, like, you didn't have to spend a fortune on them to keep them in good condition. That to me was a step forward. So I think for every month, for the 9 months that followed, I bought 2 cows.
Introducing a new breed also marked a changeover of the farm from father to son. Mick gave up a 20-year career as a metal fabricator, which brought him all over the world. But giving up the jet-set lifestyle to stay at home and farm wasn't a tough decision in the end. Besides, his skills are being put to good use on a new milking parlour.
The interest was there for myself as a young lad going to school. You came home, the jobs were done first, the homework was the last thing that was done. Then even after school, when I went working, there was the great interest still there. Like, I mean, in the latter years before my father retired, okay, I was getting up at 5:30 in the morning, going to work at 8 o'clock, coming home, having dinner at 5 o'clock, starting milking. You'd be lucky to be finished for 9:30 in the evening. Now, there is a certain amount of years in your life where you can do that, but after 4 or 5 years, like, I mean, a decision has to be made. And we decided that I would leave the job that I had been doing for 22 years and continue with farming.
He was working for 25 years and he built himself up from an apprentice to the production foreman. And he realised he'd never be the boss. I think he's very happy here today. If he don't like a fella when he comes to the yard, he'll tell him where to go. He's the boss now. I'm not the boss. I'll encourage him. And I might encourage him to invest more. Well, it'll be his money that'll be invested, not mine.
At this stage of my life, it's probably better to settle for one thing and make the most of it, which I think we're doing at this stage.
The Sheehan tradition of milking cows is so strong that Mick Jr. gave up a full-time job to work this land. Now at the Montbéliard Cows, he's decided to use the latest technology in cattle breeding and bring dual purpose fully into the 90s.
Well, the latest technology is embryo transfer. Really what it entails is picking the best cow that you have, and the fertilised eggs are taken from the donor, as she's called, and implanted into recipient heifers, which can be any ordinary continental heifers. They're really just a surrogate mother. They will carry the fertilised egg to 9 months and produce a purebred animal. I've invested in 3 purebred Belgian Blue. Now we're actually at the minute in the middle of an embryo transfer program with the 3 Belgian Blue. I also have 5 recipients ready. The beauty of the embryo transfer program is if you can get your heifers to produce more eggs than you have recipients, they can be frozen. It also, there's a little attraction there to sell the frozen embryos to anybody interested, so there's a little income in that.
This newly born calf is the shape of things to come here. It belongs to Robert, the youngest of the Sheehan farmers, and for him it's the first of many challenges. But challenges have always been embraced on the Sheehan farm.
You'll have to take chances. I mean, you could imagine now we'll say, starting off a football game or a hurling game without goalposts. You must have some ambition in life, and you must meet that goalpost.
Well, my second son now in particular, Robert, is showing great interest in the farm. But as I say, I'll hopefully do with him what my father did with me. I won't be tied down at a young age. It'll be my decision whenever the time comes. So I'll hopefully be able to do that with Robert also.
Would you drink milk straight out of a cow?
Oh, Jesus, no. No, I'm not sure I'd like it.
I grew up with raw, unpasteurised milk. Joe the milkman used to deliver it and pour it out of his can into the bottles.
It's exactly the same. Drink it at home. Like.
When any of my friends were coming out to visit, Mum had to buy, as we used to say, the real milk, because none of the girls or the kids would drink the stuff from the tank at all.
I'd probably be a bit wary of it. I mean, the way I would look at it is that, it's pasteurised for a reason.
It's probably a bit surprising that something as familiar as milk from cows is causing ructions. But unpasteurised milk is virtually impossible to buy in Ireland, and the authorities want the sale of it completely banned. But a growing number of people are recognising the benefits of drinking raw milk. For them, it's something of a superfood.
Raw milk is full of nutrients. It's full of good bacteria that is actually good for your immune system, good for everything.
The fundamental issue here is that consumers have a right to safe food. The only way you're going to ensure that milk is safe for direct human consumption is by pasteurisation.
Until 2007, milk in Ireland being sold for human consumption had to be pasteurised. In 2007, however, an EU directive made it legal to sell unpasteurised milk. This is something the Irish government intends to revoke. I went to Louth to meet a farmer who strongly believes in the goodness of unpasteurised, or raw milk as it's known.
I'm in a bit of a haze. It's 4:45 in the morning and I'm here to help out David Tiernan with his milking so we can have some milk for breakfast. Morning, David.
Morning, Ella.
We're ready.
Yes.
What needs to happen?
Well, first of all, we clean her, and
Yeah.
then you just draw the foremilk out, the first 2 or 3 squirts of milk.
And why do you do that?
Because it's milk that has been lying in the teat all
just to make
night.
sure the fresh
It's just
stuff.
to make sure it's fresh.
David has a herd of 65 Montbéliard cows, and he's been drinking raw milk all his life.
There we go.
Ah,
That goes on easy.
that's it.
And then up to here.
Up to here, yeah.
How many litres are you getting off her every morning?
About 15, 16 litres of milk every morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and then you milk her again in the afternoon.
In the evening, yeah.
It's warm.
Well,
isn't
it's body temperature.
Yeah.
Blood temperature is the same.
So this is the milk from this morning.
This is this morning's milk, yes.
And you can see it's a different kind of colour. It's more sort of yellowy than the milk I have.
Now that's the fat, it's the cream.
Yes, compared to the stuff that I buy in the shop. Cheers. Oh, that's incredible.
It's lovely.
That's like drinking sort of light cream. It's got a kind of sweetness to it that you don't get in pasteurised milk, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't drink pasteurised milk, so I'll have to take your word on that.
As far as David is concerned, drinking raw milk is the obvious option.
There's no point in selling our top quality milk and buying it back in a carton for 2 or 3, 4 times the price of it.
And have you always drunken raw milk?
Always and ever. Never had it any other way. Anyone that was reared on a dairy farm would remember, you know, milk would come into the house and it would probably be slightly warm and you could actually feel the cream and the consistency of the milk. It was really lovely.
Were you ever aware when you were younger of the dangers of drinking raw milk?
Oh, not at all. The only danger with raw milk was the chance of getting a kick of a cow when you were milking the cow. That was the only thing.
So why is milk pasteurised at all? Pasteurising milk means heating it to a high temperature and cooling it rapidly. This destroys potentially harmful bacteria that may exist in raw milk.
Any bacteria that are present in the raw milk are killed as a result of pasteurisation, and that's the primary role of pasteurisation, to ensure the safety of raw milk.
But scientists are increasingly aware that there are disadvantages with the effect of pasteurisation on milk.
The heating itself changes things in milk, which may be negative in terms of human health. Studies have been undertaken previously which have shown that infants less than 1 year of age who drink raw milk are subsequently protected against allergy and asthma development later in life compared with children who drink pasteurised milk. I'm not recommending to drink raw milk, but as a result of the pasteurisation process, certain things change in milk, and we want to learn more about what these are so as to reintroduce them back into foods later on.
I think we're actually sterilised out of it at the moment, that nobody has any resistance to any sort of infection or bacteria anymore, because all the food we eat, all the drinks we drink is all sterilised, pasteurised, homogenised. All the good bacteria that's in milk is killed in the process of pasteurisation. So I think maybe it's time to take a step back more to nature.
Cheesemonger Kevin Sheridan also believes that people should have the choice to buy raw milk, so much so that he intends to make it available in Dublin city centre.
We hope to use a system which is widespread throughout Europe, particularly in Italy, but also in the UK, which is a dispenser unit, where the farmer comes in the morning, puts his milk from the morning milking into the dispenser, and then you can just come along and fill up your bottle with really good raw milk from a single farmer.
Why are you doing it?
Because I really like raw milk. I think that Ireland has got the best milk in the world, and I think that people would like it. It's about really good milk producers connecting directly with the public, that public knowing where this product has come from, knowing the face of the farmer, knowing that they produce a really good food, and allowing that relationship to develop. We've got so many barriers now in the way of that development that we've put in as a society, and we need to allow that connection to take place.
But if the Food Safety Authority of Ireland has its way, nobody will be allowed to sell or buy raw milk. They have recommended that the government ban the sale of raw milk, and they point to the positive impact of pasteurisation.
When we introduced pasteurisation many years back, it had the effect of having major benefits to public health. Childhood diseases were eradicated, primarily because of pasteurisation. Perfectly healthy animals carry, on a routine basis, human pathogens like E. coli 0157, in some cases Salmonella, in other cases Campylobacter, and even some Listeria can be present. We cannot assure, with the best farming practices available, that fecal contamination of the milk will not happen. The risk posed by it is such that it merits prohibition.
Legislation to ban the sale of raw milk is due next year. Some continue to argue that it should be a matter of individual choice.
If people make an informed decision, they know they want to drink raw milk, they know the benefits of it, they know whatever risks is involved, well then I don't see why a farmer should not be able to sell it.